Hey, it's Sharon here from Content Sparks, and in this video I'm going to give you a sneak peek inside our course called Action-Based Coaching Skills. It's actually focused on business coaching skills, and it is not just for business coaches. It's really for anyone who wants to add coaching to whatever their offers are. So it could be that you want to become a business coach, or really this is for your audience and teaching them. You may not be a business coach yourself, but could also be teaching this course because you have an audience who wants to add coaching to their other offers, like an online course or a book or things like that. So I'm going to just dive right into the folder of materials, or the different folders of materials that you'll get. And remember, all of this is brandable, which means you can edit it and teach it as your own. So there are 3 folders of materials here in the Blaze package. That's the full course kit. And they are student materials, instructor materials, and lead generation materials. I'll also show you what's inside the upgrade pack and a special upgrade bonus that you'll get if you get both the Blaze course package and the upgrade pack. So the student materials are for your students. I'm not going to go through all of it. I know it can be a little overwhelming how much content is in here. So I'm going to highlight the key parts, and remember that you can break this up and edit it. Let's start with the overview infographic, because there is a high-level course map in here. All our graphics are created using PowerPoint, which makes it much easier for you to edit and change the colors. So you can see here, it's a very simple roadmap. This is at the highest level of the course to show you what's involved. So your students would clarify their niche, their target market. It could be, again, that they want to start a coaching business, so they need to clarify that, or they have an existing business. They just need to reaffirm who that ideal client is. Then they decide where it's going to fit into their business. So again, it could be a business on its own, could be adding it to something else in their business. And they'll assess their current skill level. They'll practice the skills using a special model that we developed called the ARIA model. I'll show you that in a sec. They will then learn how to implement a proven coaching process. So this isn't the skills, this is an actual process of what you'd go through with different sessions like onboarding and follow-up. Then there are the keys to a successful coach-client relationship, and finally, planning how to attract and keep clients. So that's the very high-level view that you can always share with your students, especially when you're in that pre-sell mode where you're letting people know what's going to be happening, what's going to happen if they sign up for the course. But then also you can keep referring back to it when you're teaching the course. There is a more detailed infographic here, the overview that goes through all the different modules and lessons. And again, this is very good for explaining the course before someone signs up, but also referring back to frequently so people know where they are along their journey. There is what we call a cheat sheet, which is a very high-level view of the course, kind of like an executive summary. And this is very good to brand first, of course, and then break up into individual PDFs so that after each lesson, each module, you can give people a summary, a way to refer back to what the key points were and the action steps and the key takeaways. And this is also great for you to get that quick look at what's inside each one of the modules and lessons without having to read the whole course book, because they are just a few pages for each one. Some are longer than others, but that gives you the high view. You also get a contents list in there that's in the instructor materials, and that also gives you a high view. I can show you that too in a sec. So the course book itself, I'll just open briefly to show you that. Again, the student materials really are the core of the whole course, all the place where everyone's going to be doing their learning and having worksheets and action guides to implement. And then you have your instructor materials with your slides. So if you open up that course book, you will see a full table of contents. I can just open this a little bit bigger for you so you can see it, and scroll down. So here's the table of contents. You'll see that there's that coaching focused, the key principles. This thing I was talking about, the ARIA, the one-to-one coaching model, is the skills. And that stands for, here, I'll go over to that for a second. The ARIA model is awareness, reflection, illumination, and action. So that's the model we developed that's around the actual process you'll go through, the skills in each coaching session. And you will have your students practice that. All right, and there are different ways that we suggest for actually going through that practice and what a typical session would look like. So if I go back up to that table of contents again at the beginning, we can look at what else is in here. So there's the action-based coaching process itself, and that is the different steps. So let's see if I can get over to that and give you a quick look. So these are the steps you'd go through in terms of your different sessions you would do in a coaching model. So there's an onboarding, like a pre-coaching meeting, and I'll show you a checklist for that. There's a session where you set goals and expectations. You run the actual action-based coaching sessions using that model I just showed you, the ARIA model. Then you do some next steps and some follow-up, and you would, in any sort of follow-up, you might book some more sessions. So this can work inside any sort of business. Again, as a coaching business, I know I'm saying this over and over, but I don't want you to think that this is just for someone who wants to have a business coaching practice. All right, so I will go back up once again so you get a good sense of this course to that table of contents. We looked at the ARIA model. I didn't go through the key principles of action-based coaching, but you'll have to get the course to see that. And then there's the keys to a successful coach-client relationship, some bits about your responsibilities as a coach, some common coaching problems or challenges and how you would address those, and then tips on attracting and keeping your clients. Let me just go down to the coaching challenges to give you a quick peek. So common coaching challenges, it goes through how to deal with these, things like demotivated clients, when there's extreme emotion, when your client challenges you, when you start to feel you're out of your depth, and when your own feelings are out of control. So it goes through different ways to deal with that and some action steps for that. So again, if I just show you that side by side, you'll see how this lays out and how you can brand it. There's spaces in the footer to put your company name, your URL. You can change all these colors very easily by just going into the design tab in Word and changing the color scheme. So if you have a standard color scheme and apply it, it'll do it everywhere. And we have some various tutorials on the site for that and a branding guide. And we use these same graphics in the slides so that you can see that. And of course, at the end of each module, some key takeaways and action steps. Now, in terms of the action steps, that's where that action guide comes into play. And this, if you've purchased any of our other courses in the past, you'll typically see just an action guide and maybe one or two other handouts. In this particular course, there's so much involved in really coaching effectively that we've added some other worksheets in here. So there's the standard action guide that goes along with all the action steps in the course book. And you'll see different worksheets in here, different places to take notes. But then in here, you'll also see references to things like the self-assessment questionnaire. And that's one of the ones in here. So we've got an ideal client profile document to fill in. You can obviously edit this if there are things you feel are missing that are very important for your clients, your students to fill in. You would edit that. The self-assessment document comes in doc and spreadsheet that auto-calculates. So the document itself is a questionnaire. So they rate themselves, they look at where they're using the skills well, things they want to improve, and then they can score themselves on that and see where they stand. So they can look at what they might want to improve overall. And as I said, that also comes in a spreadsheet. If you prefer to share that with your students, it'll auto-calculate in there, and they can fill in different things and also take notes in their action guide. There's an empathy quiz. This is important for making sure they're clear on what the difference is, what's empathy versus, say, sympathy. And that's very important to understand the difference. So they rate each one in there and get clear on that. And then there's a preparation checklist. This is a checklist for making sure that you are prepared for each coaching session. So it's a very simple, quick checklist there that you want to make sure you fill in before each one. Then there's a document that has some templates in it for your students to use with their clients. So there's a coaching intake form that the coach gives to the client beforehand to make sure they can get some background on their business and their challenges before doing a first coaching session or even hiring them as a client. Then there's a coaching agreement. Now remember, this is not a legal document. So if your students, your coaches, your coaching students are going to be using this as their agreement, it should be just the starting point. Depending on where they're doing their coaching, where their business is, they'll need to actually talk to a lawyer and make sure that that works for them. Session roundup is something the coach gives to the client so that they can take notes at the end and know what their insights were, what they agreed to do. And then there's also an accountability review. So there's another form that your coaches would be giving to their clients, their coaching clients, to help them stay accountable. So they're going to take charge of their own actions and their own accountability. So those are obviously, again, ready to customize and brand. The final couple things in here are also for you or for your coaches. So again, you can go through this course yourself for your honing your own coaching skills if you want to add that to your courses or other parts for your business. So the onboarding checklist is something you want to make sure you cover or your coaches cover in an initial onboarding meeting. This is the first meeting a coach has with a client, is where you actually agree and get on the same page about everything that's going to happen during the coaching. So this isn't an actual coaching session, it's an onboarding or pre-coaching session. So there's a checklist in here for that. And then the last thing in here is a coaching tracker. So your coaches can keep track, very simple spreadsheet, keep track of their clients, the contact details, when they started coaching, if they stopped coaching. So that's helpful to see because they can go back to people who stopped and revisit and see if they're ready to get coached again or work together again. Paid hours, pro bono hours, because sometimes they might be doing some pro bono, and then total. And again, customize it to make it work with your coaches, your students. Now, that's the bulk of the student materials. I showed you the course book, the action guide and worksheets, the cheat sheets, some of the graphics. There are some slide handouts. Let me just show you those slides now in the instructor materials. There is a lot in here. There's the slideshow and speaker notes, an implementation guide that gives you some more tips for teaching the course. An evaluation form is just something you can hand out to your students or put into an online form to get their feedback. Some follow-up emails to send to them after the course, research sources, and some other things like a suggested curriculum. And that contents document, which I'll show you in a sec. So let me open up the slideshow as promised first. And you can see here, once it loads, that it's also ready to brand. So there's a place for your logo. We keep it very simple in here so that you can easily apply your own design. And what I suggest, it's a big presentation, just like a big course, 233 slides, but we keep it in one so that you can add your branding design. Just in the design tab, you add whatever your custom theme might be. So there are a lot that are built in, but you can also create a custom one. That's just a matter of creating something, making all your changes, and then saving your current theme. So we do have a tutorial on that on the site as well if you look for creating a custom theme. Or you can try one of these, but the built-in ones in PowerPoint I don't love. They're just a little bit too complicated, and you want to keep it simple. You want to keep people focused on the actual content in your slides and you actually explaining them. So go ahead and add your design to that. Take out any slides you don't like. Some people, if you're not teaching it live, you might take out the questions slide and the debrief slide, keep the action step slides, change the colors. just the same way as I discussed in the Word documents, you can go into the Design tab and change your colors. If you have a standard color theme, you just pick that and it's going to change it everywhere. All right. And let's see what else in here. You'll see those same graphics again that I discussed before that are also in the course book. We also give them to you as separate in a separate document where you have all the graphics as one. Those are in the student materials, so you can edit them directly there if you want. If you want to have them as, say, just a presentation with the graphics alone. Let's see, anything else in here I want to show you? You can see the graphic like this we've set up to build, so you can just have it there but discuss each point separately. And as I mentioned, underneath you'll see there's speaker notes. So we give you these in a separate Word document. Let me open up that or just show you that briefly. Over here there is the speaker notes. So all that is a Word document with a snapshot of the slides and then the speaker notes underneath. Some facilitators, some instructors like to use it this way and have their notes depending on how you're teaching the course. I did mention in here that there's this contents PDF. So this is a list of all the contents that you're getting in your Blaze package. So there's the list of modules, there's all the learning objectives, and then there's all the materials. And a lot of our customers say they like to use this when they're putting together their sales page. So when you get the Blaze package, I'd go into that instructor materials and download and open this right away so that you do have an even higher level view. I mentioned the cheat sheet gives you a high level view of the actual content in the course book, but this gives you a view of everything that's actually in your folders. So there's the student materials, all the contents there, instructor materials, including the titles of the different course follow-up emails, research sources, and then the lead generation materials, including the name of the opt-in report, your lead magnet, and your follow-up emails and blog posts. So that's really helpful as well. So I'll close that up. And there is a suggested curriculum. I mentioned the follow-up emails. I can show you one of those as an example. So you want to keep in touch with your students after you've finished a course, after you finish delivering it. And these are some initial ones that you can use as your starting point. You're going to want to keep in touch with them over time, so you'll be doing more emails as well. But these have some additional tips that you can send out. So you might set up a series of emails while you're delivering the course, just pointing them to each module and saying it's time to do that, and maybe add some checking in ones, asking them how they're doing. But then afterwards continue to give them other emails and tips with some calls to action. So we have that set up for you with some placeholders in there. We also do that in the lead generation materials. So let's hop over to there now, those lead gen. And this is for attracting students to your course, building a list. And we give you a lead magnet in 3 forms. And 3 formats in document, slides, and that cheat sheet, that high level. So you can see this is similar layout to the course book where you have a place for your logo and your footer information, and it's called Are You Ready to Start Coaching? And it goes through 5 steps. So you can run it, you can deliver it over 5 days as well, not just send it as a report, but do it as live streams. So you've got how one-on-one coaching can help your audience, what experience you need, skills you'll need, legal aspects, and what you need to learn. And that leads nicely into the course. So this helps your prospective students get in the right mindset, understand what they need to do, start taking some actions so that they're ready to learn in the course. And then sign up for your course because they'll get to know you, especially if you do any of this live. So there's next steps as well for each one of these. And then I did mention we give that to you in a cheat sheet format. So that's that same sort of outline format like the other cheat sheet. So you could deliver it this way. This is great if you do it live, especially with the slides that I'm going to show you in a second. because this can be a good handout once you've branded it and done it as a PDF, saved it as a PDF. Remember, don't share any straight Word documents. Brand them, do whatever edits you want, and convert them to a PDF. That's important, according to the rules, our license rules. So I mentioned that we also give you this as a slideshow, your lead magnet. And in here, you'll see there's 45 slides, so this can make a really nice webinar. Or what a lot of people do is they do their branding, make any edits, add some images maybe, and then break it up as separate little live streams or short webinars. Webinar doesn't have to be an hour long. People don't have time to do something like that. And the next steps are in there too. And I mentioned the cheat sheet. You can also brand, save as a PDF, maybe break it up into separate PDFs if you're doing the slides as separate little live streams, and make that a incentive to stay to the end, because they'll get that cheat sheet to refer back to. So that is the main thing in the lead generation materials, those first 3 folders, the report in the cheat sheet format, report information, and a slideshow. You'll, of course, want to follow up with the people who sign up for this. So there are 7 emails. The first one is going to be to just send people to whatever you've offered, whether it's a sign up for a webinar or that report. So we put in a download link to the opt-in. If you're doing a webinar, you just put the registration link of where they're going to go, or they'll have registered, so it might be a reminder of when it is and some other information. So make this your own, add your information, add your own little personal intro. The same with the other emails. So the first, it follows along with that report or webinar, however you're doing it. So the first one is, are you ready to meet your client's needs? Write your little personal introduction there. It refers back to the report, gives some more tips and information, and then in each one you can give a little nudge towards your sales page in your course if they're ready. You don't have to do that in the main body of the email. You could just put it at the end, or send them to something else. Just send them back to the report if you feel that your own audience needs more nurturing. Same with some of these others. So all of them are ready to brand. So those follow-up emails, you would just edit, brand, and put them into your autoresponder. We use ActiveCampaign. So blog posts as well, I think, are pretty self-explanatory. You want to edit and customize them, load them up, drip them over time, add your call to action. There's an infographic that follows along with the same points in the opt-in report. And there are some social media posts. These we keep relatively short, so they could fit in Twitter. You can put them on an image, or you can use them as inspiration for a longer post, such as on Instagram. So you could put part of the tip onto an image for Instagram, then take the rest of it and just expand it a little with some sort of wording that fits you. You don't want it to be exactly the same. So make it more personal, that sounds like your voice when you put it onto social media. And there are 30 of those, so that should keep you busy. And that is everything in the Blaze package. Student materials, instructor materials, lead generation materials. Quick point, the student materials you can get just in the Beacon package if you only want those, such as for self-study or just for yourself to learn from. Lead generation materials, you can, if you only want that, those are in the Flash package. But the best value, and if you want the instructor materials, is the Blaze package, which has the student, instructor, and lead generation materials. One final point to show you is there is an upgrade pack. I said I would show you that, and I will. That contains these module quizzes, so you can put together a quiz at the end of each one of your modules. So let's look at this side by side. Most course platforms do have the ability to add quizzes like this. If you're using something like Thrive Themes, which we also use, and using that to deliver the course, you can also use their Thrive Quiz Builder to put this together. And we indicate what the correct answer is, but it follows along with each one of the lessons. Some people even use some of these, not the whole quiz, but some of it as a lead generation something to build interest or excitement about the course. But don't go too crazy. Don't overwhelm people with all of these questions, or they won't want to take the course. And then there's a Trello board in there. That is something our customers love. And the link will be in a PDF in your download. This is again in the upgrade pack. All you do is click on that. You will be prompted to sign up for a free Trello account, or if you already have one, log in. You only need the free version. And there are some instructions of how to copy it, because you have to copy it in order to use it and brand it. There's some instructions to be able to edit these headers, because they're done in Canva. And then once you've branded it, you'll share it with your own students, maybe as a bonus, so that they can keep track of where they are, because each one of the cards has the action steps, and they can keep track of where they are in the course and what they've completed without having to do it on paper, because not everyone wants to do that. So that is the bonus Trello board, or that's the Trello board that's in the upgrade pack. There is a bonus if you get both the upgrade pack and the Blaze course, and that is the last thing I'm going to show you, which is social media images. And there's a place to put your website here, so you can use a image editor to put that on. Or how many are there in here? There are 30 in here. Or you can open up this PDF and edit them directly in Canva. So there's a link in there, there's some instructions, and you would just open that link. You'll be prompted, you can say use the template, and if you don't have a Canva account, again, you can set one up for free, and then you'll be able to edit this however you want. All right, now that's everything. And as I mentioned, you've got your student, your instructor, your lead generation materials. Those are in the Blaze package. If you only want the Flash, the lead generation materials, that's in the Flash package. If you only want the student materials, that's in the Beacon package. If you want student, instructor, lead gen, get the Blaze. If you want some quizzes and Trello board, get the upgrade pack. And finally, if you do get both, you'll get those extra social media images. And if you have any questions at all, contact us at support@contentsparks.com, and we will get back to you as soon as possible with your answers. All right, take care now. I can't wait to see what you do with this course.